John, and welcome everybody to this beautiful event. I do want to acknowledge John McDonald and Aaron Glenn for their help putting it together. I also want to acknowledge a colleague in government, City Council Richard Ash is up there. I also want to acknowledge somebody who was on it last year, but she wasn't physically with us last year, Beth Angelo, head of Quincy Community Action. Stand up and wave. So with that, we have 5 outstanding women we're honoring today. These are the grounds that Abigail walked on, John walked on. We continue to walk these grounds and continue to make history in this historic city. And today we are honoring 5 incredible women who have made incredible contributions in each of the area. All that they have done collectively makes this city what it truly is. And this city is an awesome place, not because of the bricks and mortar, because of the people that make up the city. So with that, let us get started. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Jordan Jongalinzer. Thank you, Jordan, for being with us.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Let me make sure you guys can hear me okay? Okay, lift it up a little bit. Thank you guys for being here as we celebrate Women's History Month. I see a lot of women here in the audience, and I'm glad that we can all celebrate these women and Women's History Month together, of course, coming off International Women's Day yesterday. And of course, we're honoring the legacy of Abigail Adams and the 5 incredible women here right from Quincy who are making a difference in the lives in our own community, which is such an inspiration for all of us. Abigail Adams was, of course, famously the Second Lady of the United States, which was incredible. She was also the mother of the 6th President, John Quincy Adams. Those are certainly pretty incredible achievements to honor, but today I think that we would all like to thank Abigail Adams, not just for her service, but for her advocacy for women, and specifically education. Her mother was from right here in Quincy, and while like other women of her age, Abigail had no formal education, she really pushed for that to change for all of us in this room today, and for all of the women here on the stage who have gone on to do incredible things. She wanted to see a different generation, and she pushed for that throughout her lifetime to expand access to education for women. In a letter to her husband in 1776, she requested that John remember the ladies in the Founding Fathers' new laws. And one of my favorite quotes from our fellow Massachusetts native is, "If we mean to have heroes, statesmen, and philosophers, we should have learned women." And here we are today. She would be so proud to see just how many accomplished women are here in this room and to learn about the accomplishments of the women here who are on this stage behind me. I'd like to thank Mayor Koch for establishing this award and really recognizing the importance of the achievements, not just of the women we honor here today in Quincy, but really all across the Commonwealth and in the country. We see women doing so many incredible things in all of our local communities, and we really try, I know, at WBZ to recognize each of those women and in the many stories that we can do. So thank you all so much for being here today. These women here on the stage are paving the way for future generations, just like Abigail Adams really would have wanted. So for today's 3rd annual event, we're specifically recognizing some 5 women as part of this 3rd class whose achievements, I'm sure, will inspire all of you today as you get ready and leave this room. And keep in touch, too, by the way, with me on social media. I'd love to hear about the many amazing things that you all are doing in your own lives and the women that you know at home in the community. But first, I'd like to introduce now Linda Stice. She's the Coordinator of Educational Services for Homeless Students at Quincy Public Schools. She'll be speaking on behalf of Doris Cox today. Dr. Cox has spent her career at Bay State Community Services. She's worked in nonprofit work and clinics since 1986, and she's committed to supporting those most in need across the greater South Shore. She's our first honoree today in the nonprofit field. If some of you guys are following along in your programs, you might notice that they're a little out of order, but she is our honoree today for her nonprofit work. So Linda, you come to the stage to present her award.
Thank you, Jordan, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank Mayor Koch and Christine Koch for bringing all of us here today to remember Abigail Adams and to celebrate these 5 remarkable women. As Jordan said, it was in 1776, in the month of March, that Abigail Adams wrote 3 of the most famous words in American history. As women, Mayor, I want you to know that it truly gladdens our hearts that 248 years later, we are all here together in a city that truly does remember the ladies. So thank you. When Doris Cox called me to tell me that she had gotten this award and to ask me to introduce her, I knew I was probably more excited about the opportunity than Doris was. She is a very private person who, it's all about the work with Doris. It's never about her. She's somebody who really shuns the limelight. So I'm so glad that she's getting the recognition that she's getting today. But I was worried about how I would explain to you exactly what it is that Doris does. I remembered a conversation that I had many years ago with a friend of mine who married a man who was a full professor at a very famous business school. And he also consulted worldwide with multinational corporations. When my friend Joanne told him that my husband Ken and I were social workers, he had just one word in reply: why? It's a good question. So why is it that Doris, for all of her life, has worked to help other people? Doris has worked with people who are incarcerated and who are only coming to see her because the court has ordered them to do so. That is work that can be very frustrating. She has worked with people who have a history of violence, and sometimes that has put her in danger. She has worked with really vulnerable populations, with people who struggle with every fiber of their being to get clean and sober. But no matter how hard they try, sometimes those people lose their battle. And Doris has worked with children. That is work that can really break your heart. So, why does she do what she does? About 20 years ago, Bay State Community Services put on one of those big gala fundraising dinners that nonprofits do. This one had 200 or 300 people in attendance. I remember it being very festive, with everybody meeting their friends and colleagues and elected officials and having a wonderful meal. And there was the usual roster of speakers that got up on the stage and said nice things about Bay State Community Services. So everything was going along pretty much as you would expect, until one man, a well-known leader on the South Shore, a very accomplished guy, got to the podium and said some nice things about various Bay State programs. And then he said that he had personal experience with the work that Bay State does. And there, up at the podium, he began to weep. The clinking of the silverware on china stopped, and the laughter and the conversations stopped as he tried to regain his composure. He explained that his sister had struggled with drug addiction for many, many years, and he had learned from Doris that relapse can be part of recovery. But he said his sister had relapsed so many times that she was worn out. She was done. And he said that his family was so scared. So he asked Doris if she would talk to his sister. And of course, she said yes. So the two women talked, and his sister agreed to go into a program that Doris found for her. He said that all of this had happened about a year and a half prior, and his sister had been drug-free ever since then. He said, "Doris saved my sister's life." So that is why she does what she does. And the amazing thing about this is this was not a face-to-face conversation. This was two women in a telephone call. So what was it that she said? Well, she would never share that, but I've known Doris for 30 years, so I know what she does. Long before our field embraced the concept of strength-based rather than deficit-based counseling, Doris was always finding the good in people. When folks come to her, their problems are pretty evident. Sometimes they're laid out on the table for all the world to see. But what Doris does is help people find their strengths. And in doing so, she gives them the greatest tool of all. She gives them hope. So I would like to introduce my dear friend, Dr. Doris Cox.
Thank you, Linda. I'm so fortunate to have such amazing board members like you helping guide Bay State on the mission and all the work that we do to make sure that the well-being of the children and families in the communities are taken care of. I want to thank the mayor.
Into the mic a little bit more.
Sorry.
There we go.
Is that better? Oh, that's way too loud. No. How's that? I want to thank the mayor, Quincy 400, the First Lady, for this incredible honor. Truly means a great deal. I want to thank them for all the support and the encouragement over the years. This is truly, they really truly understand how a healthy community is so important to the well-being of the children and the family in Quincy, and are very committed to that. Just so you know, Mayor Koch was one of the first people that called me when the pandemic happened, and he said, "What do you need?" There was a lot going on, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that the children and the families in Quincy were taken care of. I am eternally grateful for his understanding, kindness, and compassion. The First Lady, thank you. The First Lady is also someone who is willing to give to herself. Right before the pandemic, Bay State Community Service offers families a program that was called the Family Table, funded by the Duncan Joy in Childhood. Mrs. Koch came as our first special guest. She took the time to teach our families how to cook a nutritious meal that was cost-effective, which is really important for the families that we serve. Not only did she teach the families, as well as some of the staff who were here, how to cook these meals, but they sat and enjoyed that meal with the families. This was a powerful message to the children and the families. They, for the first time, felt valued and important. I want to thank her for her kindness and compassion and all she's done for Bay State and the Quincy community. I want to thank my amazing family. Without their love and support, I would not be able to do this really important work. While I greatly appreciate this honor, it really is the Bay State Community's team that really deserves this recognition. And the Abigail Adams Award is a very meaningful award to all of us. As a certified women-owned nonprofit with 100% of our leadership team and 75% of our staff being women, recognizing the important contributions is so important and so appreciated. So I thank you all for that. Every year, the dedicated, passionate, and committed women and men provide over 18,000 services to individuals, families, children in the community. They make a difference. They give of themselves every day. They are in the community providing supports, resources, service, and most importantly, hope. hope for families that really need somebody to stand up for them. I'm constantly in awe of their strength, passion, and commitment. I do want to take this opportunity to thank my mentor, Ken Tarabelli, who got me into this, for all his love and commitment and assistance over the years. Thank you to all the amazing Bay State team, and thank you so much for this award.
Pretty amazing stuff. A nice start to our presentation here today. Now, our next honoree for public service is Barbara Isola, a lawyer, former Quincy School Committee member, and assistant district attorney in Plymouth County. She strived for much of her life to help students seek a higher plateau of achievement in their lives, helping to create a superior learning environment for children right here in Quincy during her time as a school committee member, and then of course has done so much throughout her work as a lawyer. I'd like to invite her friend to speak to her a little bit more now to the stage, Kathy Nichols.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As we gather today to celebrate Women's History Month, it's my honor to stand before you and pay tribute to a remarkable woman whose dedication to our community echoes that of Abigail Adams. In the spirit of Abigail's call to action to remember the ladies, we honor Barbara Isola, a shining example of unwavering dedication to our community. Barbara's journey mirrors Abigail in many ways. While Abigail received her education at home, Barbara pursued a formal education, obtaining her nursing degree from Hunter College and her law degree from the University of San Francisco. However, what truly distinguishes Barbara is not just her impressive resume, but her deep love for our community and her relentless drive to make a difference. Like Abigail, Barbara is a devoted wife and mother and very soon-to-be grandmother, balancing her family responsibilities with her commitment to the community. Despite growing up in Queens, New York, Barbara has embraced our city as her own for over 3 decades. Professionally, Barbara's career path reflects Abigail's spirit of advocacy and service. From her early days as a pediatric nurse to her current role as a prosecutor and assistant district attorney with the Plymouth County DA's office, Barbara has demonstrated a steadfast commitment to justice. Her partnership with her husband, Tim McAloon, who's president of the board of directors at QCAP, exemplifies mutual respect and support as they serve our community together. As second vice president of the Quincy Historical Society, Barbara works to preserve the legacy of Abigail and the Adams family in our city. Her involvement in various PTOs and the citywide Parents Council highlights her passion for education, echoing Abigail's advocacy for women's rights and education. Despite her busy schedule, Barbara's commitment to our community never wavers, as seen in her campaign for school committee. Barbara asked me to serve as her treasurer during her campaign, which I gladly accepted. Rain or shine and worst of storms, she stood dedicated to her commitment, braving the elements, and held signs and connected with her voters by knocking doors across the city to share her vision for our schools. Once elected to school committee, Barbara focused on being responsive to her constituents. She researched important issues, she asked pertinent questions, and she worked with her colleagues to initiate change that positively impacted our schools. Like Abigail, Barbara finds solace in books, indulging in a wide range of genres. Her love for reading is complemented by her passion for cooking and hosting exquisite dinner parties. Barbara's cooking show on QATV, Into the Frying Pan, showcased her culinary talents. Barbara invited guests to join her in the frying pan to cook along with her. In fact, the first guest on her show was then candidate Tom Koch. The mayor brought his culinary expertise from his home and into Barb's kitchen. And he can be credited with teaching Barbara how to fine-tune her cooking techniques. Good job. Her compassion and her dedication to service inspires us all to strive for a better tomorrow. You will never find Barbara boasting about her contributions to our community. It's all done behind the scenes. As we reflect on the legacy of Abigail Adams and we celebrate the accomplishments of Barbara Isola and all of the other remarkable women being honored today, let us remember and recognize their invaluable contributions to our community. Barbara, your tireless dedication inspires us all. May your legacy continue to illuminate the path for future generations, guiding and igniting us all to make a difference. I introduce my friend, Barbara Isola.
Wow, thank you so much. I am absolutely honored to receive this award. When I received the call that I was getting the award, I was saying, do you know that you have Barbara Isola on the phone? I truly was humbled by this and come here just absolutely amazed to be in the presence of these amazing women. I thank you, Mayor Koch and Christine, for this award. It's so important that we're in this city that's absolutely steeped with history. And you know, Mayor Koch, what you do every day is you enhance the history, but you will go beyond because you're giving award and you're acknowledging women, which is something that I think is just so important, particularly in this time of history when women's rights are being eroded every time we turn around. As we go forward, I think it's important for women to stand up for themselves, for those around them, for those less fortunate, for our students, for the people in the community. It's important to have a voice, and thank you for illuminating that voice, Mayor Koch. I really do appreciate it. I do want to say thank you to my family, who, particularly my husband, who is always there behind me, and sometimes that could be a challenging task, I can tell you that. Thank you. And my beautiful children and their spouses. I'm just so fortunate to have them. As I go forward, I hope that I'm able to live up to the legacy of this award. I hope that I can provide some of a role model to our future generations. And once again, I am just so privileged to be amongst all of these women. Thank you so much, Mayor Koch, and thank you.
I know. It's heavy. Thank you so much, Barbara, for all that you've done for our community. It was great learning, too, about your abilities as a chef. Maybe next year we can get some treats at the event. Just saying, just an idea from you, too, Mayor Koch. I'd like to see some of the things you could do in the kitchen. Yeah. All right, our next honoree in the field of education today is Courtney Mitchell, the principal of Southwest Middle School here in Quincy. She's a lifelong resident of Quincy. Her interest in working with students first began when she was interning in Worcester Public Schools. She started her guidance career at Sterling Middle School and then became the assistant principal. She's dedicated her career to serving the city of Quincy and has a special connection with the students and many families that she works with here in the community. Her award today is going to be presented by a former recipient of this award, an assistant superintendent of Quincy Public Schools, Erin Perkins, who I'd like to welcome now to the stage.
Thank you very much. It is my privilege to be here today to recognize my friend and colleague, Courtney Mitchell. Knowing Courtney since back in our middle school days together at Raise the Curtain, yes, I got it in there, Courtney. I know that she is sitting up here right now feeling very nervous and maybe questioning a little bit as to whether or not she deserves this award. And that is exactly why she absolutely does deserve this award. Because it is never about the recognition for Courtney. In fact, I think in most cases she would rather not be recognized. For Courtney, it is always about what is best for the children of Quincy Public Schools. Courtney started her career in education at Lincoln Hancock Elementary School, teaching grade 5. From there, she moved to a grade 5 position at Point Webster Middle School for 2 years. Although she enjoyed her time in grade 5, Courtney knew her heart was in the guidance office, and she made the switch to a career as a guidance counselor, making the move to what would become her home, Southwest Middle School. The students at Southwest captured Courtney's heart. As a guidance counselor, Courtney was warm and welcoming to every student that came through her door. She has a gift when it comes to her work with her students. She knows how to make each and every student feel loved. Naturally, when the time came for the opportunity to be the assistant principal, it was a gift to Southwest and the district that Courtney wanted the role. After serving in that role for a bit, Courtney made the difficult decision to leave Southwest and become the principal at Marymount. At Marymount, she again made amazing connections with students and families, and I know they will be forever grateful for the time that she spent there. But Courtney knew her heart was at Southwest, and so when the chance came to become the principal there was no question she was heading back home. Courtney has dedicated her life to serving the students of Southwest and Quincy, and the care and the kindness that she has shown is inspiring. Those of us that work with Courtney often tease her about her office, that is the most organized office in the district, and it is color coordinated down to her pens, pencils, and markers. But I know I speak for us all when I tell you that Courtney is the kindest, most thoughtful person I have ever met. Colleagues, friends, students, anyone that needs her, she is always there. It is so fitting that Courtney is receiving this prestigious award named after a woman of remarkable intellect, resilience, and compassion. Courtney has touched the lives of hundreds of students, and we all are all better for having Courtney in our lives. I am thrilled to be here to honor and recognize her for her amazing contributions to the lives of so many. We love you, Courtney. Congratulations.
Thank you, Erin, for very kind words. And you're right about several things. I really appreciate your support today. I do have to share with everyone that I met Erin back in 1980-something at the famous QPS summer program, Raise the Curtain. And I thought you were a superstar as you impressed the whole camp with your solo. Over the years, the spotlight grew to include you becoming the Assistant Superintendent of Quincy Public Schools, and last year, you became the first recipient of the Abigail Adams Award. I admire your tireless work for our students, staff, and families of Quincy. Thank you again for introducing me. I am honored and humbled to be here today with these accomplished women to receive an award in honor of Abigail Adams, an incredible woman and leader. When I think of the meaning of this award and the impact Abigail Adams has had on history, I think of many women who have been so influential in my own life, particularly in my educational journey and my career. As Abigail Adams said, the early education of youth and the first principles which are instilled take the deepest root. This quote rings true to me. As a kindergartner and second grader, I would have told you that Miss Bopp and Miss McKeever made everything in the world fun. Lessons seemed magical in their classrooms, and if you were their student, you knew you were loved. In 5th grade, Mrs. Engorn truly believed I could achieve whatever I wanted to be in life, and I actually started to believe her. At North Quincy High School, Mrs. Rugby and Miss Murrayhead taught me the importance of being a strong, independent woman and the value of true friendship and loyalty. The women I mentioned are fierce. They believed in their students. They supported them. They connected with them. Their students loved to learn from them. Caring for students didn't end at dismissal. They cheered on their students at recitals, plays, championship games, debates, shows, and graduations. Their support was constant. They are women who support women and know the importance of that. Although today is about women, the male leaders of this great city celebrate and support female colleagues and partners. Mayor Koch supports the students, families, and staff at not only Southwest Middle School, but across the entire city. He is supportive of all we do in QPS, and I am very proud to work for him. Our honorable mayor, along with Quincy 400, created today's celebration. Remember the ladies, acknowledging and honoring women. Thank you, Mayor Koch, for everything you do, and to Quincy 400 for today's event. Quincy Public Schools is extremely lucky to have Superintendent Mulvey, who is supportive of the work we do. Mr. Mulvey is here with us today, so thank you to him for all he does on a daily basis for our students. I have always been lucky. My father, Bill, who started his career as a teacher, truly believed in me. And my brother, Mike, has also stood by my side my entire life. And in adulthood, he has become my most trusted confidant. Although he often uses me as his material on his podcast. I can't say there was a magical sign or a moment that made me know I wanted my future career to be in education. Instead, the many educators who had an impact on me made me realize I wanted to be just like them. I grew up in a family of educators. I saw how my cousin Leanne, my Aunt Masha, and my mom loved their profession. Their passion for teaching and love for their students was always genuine. So many conversations revolved around their classrooms and plans of upcoming events and things my mother would take us to on a weekly basis. They always went above and beyond for their students. My mom is here today, a retired North Quincy High School English teacher. After she retired, my friends would joke that they could finally see the dining room table. For years, a sea of papers engulfed the dining room table as she never stopped correcting from September to June. To say my mom has been helpful and influential in my life is an understatement. My mom continues to give me advice and advise me. So thank you, Mom, for all you have done and for the example you've set. For most of my career, I have worked in Southwest Quincy, coupled with my experiences at other schools. I have learned from and worked with the best, from incredible mentors, talented and creative teachers, excellent guidance and support staff, paras, coaches, and secretaries. Kathy Skirby, to name just one. My principal colleagues, who I am so grateful for, the superintendent and his leadership team. I have learned and continue to learn new things every day. Working as an educator in this forward-focused city has been an amazing experience. The highlight of this job is seeing our students thrive and succeed, and I have the pleasure of seeing that on a daily basis. They are inspired students, enthusiastic about life in their community and their future. The only feeling that compares to our students' immediate day-to-day success is that of successes of former students. Many have exceeded in different fields, and with special pride, 2 former students were introduced at new teacher orientation this past fall. These QPS graduates are our future women leaders. Moving to the future, Abigail Adams continues to inspire us. Improve upon the talents you possess and cultivate the natural abilities. With our dedicated and motivated staff, we continue to grow in cultural diversity, responding to and interacting with our community, setting high academic standards, and giving students opportunities to think creatively and challenge themselves as leaders. The success of our students, no matter how great, is the biggest reward we can ever receive. Thank you to all the women, especially my friends and extended family here today, who have guided me and supported me. I also see some students out there too, so thank you for being here. Thank you for this outstanding honor.
Courtney, thanks so much for all you do to make an impact in the lives of the many students here in Quincy. I know there's a lot of future female leaders and leaders in general that are growing up in Quincy Public Schools, so thank you. Our next honoree in the arts today is Linda Santoro. She's with the Quincy Arts Association. The Quincy Arts Association began all the way back in the 90s, or 80s rather, when a group of women decided that they wanted to paint together. She joined along with her husband back in 2018, and ever since the gallery has evolved, hosting various fundraisers for local nonprofits and events in the Quincy community. Today, her daughter, Lori Scott, is presenting the award to her. I'd like to welcome her now onto the stage.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today celebrating these amazing women, and to all of you attending. And when I read about Abigail Adams, I see qualities that also describe my mom, Linda Santoro. Intelligent, resourceful, competent, independent, dedicated, and passionate. A vital confidant to her husband, a sounding board for his ideas, a defender of his reputation, his most trusted advisor. The woman behind the man. Fiercely devoted to women being treated as equally important in their roles. a formidable force, an inspiration. Linda's passion for arts and culture began when she fell in love with theater at the age of 8 and taking dancing, singing, and piano lessons. Growing up, she was in many plays, talent shows, but performing was not her only passion in the arts. In the 7th grade, Linda fell in love with sewing, making a lot of her own clothes in middle and high school, which is where she met the love of her life, Frank, the Renaissance man. You see, Abigail and John Adams shared a bond through their curiosity for learning and reading in their early years together. And I'd say that arts and culture are the undeniable bond between Linda and Frank. My brother Michael and I grew up with lots of music, theater, art, painting, culture, and plenty of handmade clothes. Right? Who needs back to school shopping when you're rocking your handmade plaid vest? Thanks, Mom. We loved being in the shows, especially neighborhood talent shows, Dad's Drama Club, the Beechwood Players, performing in the old Wollaston Theater. And as a kid, being on the stage in Wollaston Theater was like being in the Wang Theater. It was just massive, except at Wally, you could expect a chandelier to fall on you at any given moment. But there was Mom in the wings cheering us on, right? Linda and Frank ran the East Milton Cinema for several years with John McDonald, 364 days a year. That was a lot of popcorn and a lot of foreign films. For years, Linda was a talented interior decorator, head of alterations for Lord & Taylor, and then later opened her own bridal shop. In the 90s, Linda's passion for fundraising began in the city. She helped raise money for a new field at Veteran Memorial Stadium, organizing a concert featuring B.J. Thomas. And for those of you who are younger than 70, B.J. Thomas sang "Raindrops Keep Falling on Your Head." Yeah. Yep, he was right here in the queue, and it was a really big deal. She was involved with the Quincy School Community Partnership, raising over $100,000 for teachers' mini grants, bringing more arts and culture to our city, producing tribute shows at the Marriott Hotel such as Beatlemania, ABBA, the Bee Gees, Motown, and Elvis. In addition to fundraising, Linda helped produce and promote the Quincy Symphony Orchestra's concerts. She was a dedicated volunteer for Dove, a nonprofit committed to ending domestic violence. When Dad was principal at Central Middle School, he asked Mom to help Peggy Spencer's after-school drama rehearsals. The job? Trash monitor. But that led to 13 years as costume designer for many productions at Central, Quincy High School, and Raise the Curtain summer programs at North Quincy High. She didn't just make costumes. She designed and custom tailored each and every costume so that every child looked their very best for their big moment to shine on stage. So that was about 13 shows, one a year, and approximately 75 costumes per show. That's right. It's over 975 custom-tailored costumes. Her dedication was truly remarkable. All of these roles that Linda took on, all volunteer. Each one a labor of love. I mean, she volunteered to make over 975 costumes. Who does that? But she didn't stop there. In 2018, my parents joined the Quincy Art Association and worked with Mayor Tom Koch in 2021 to create Quincy's very first art gallery. Her commitment and enthusiasm to the gallery, the artists, and their mission, just incredible. I think Linda sums it up perfectly. She says, "My happy place is wherever creativity brings people together. It energizes me when people come together for a common purpose, to make this world a more beautiful and cultured place to live." If there's an arts event in Quincy, you will see Linda there, rolling up her sleeves to do whatever is needed for the success of the event, creating, promoting, supporting, devoting her life to arts and culture of our great city, celebrating 400th anniversary next year. Linda is an arts and culture influencer. My son gave me those words. An art and culture influencer, always leading with a strong presence from behind the scenes, a cheerleader from the wings. Well, not today, Mom. This one is for you. And it's your turn to shine on the stage, and I can't think of anyone more deserving of this recognition. So, I am proud and honored to introduce the recipient of the Abigail Adams Arts and Culture Award, Linda Santoro.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Jordan, for being here, Mayor Koch, and your wife, Christine, for making this happen, and John McDonald. Oh, man. But, Laurie, thank you so much for that introduction, and to all my family and friends that are here. Thank you. I am humbled and honored to receive this award in Abigail Adams' name and to be standing here with these amazing women. I am not worthy, no. I want to thank, again, John and Mayor Tom Koch. John for nominating me, and for the mayor for accepting that nomination. This is my first time speaking on the stage, though I spent many years behind it, creating costumes for the musical, as Laurie had mentioned, under the direction of my dear friend, Peggy Spencer. I'm not sure if she's here today, but she's recovering from shoulder surgery. I am so proud to call Quincy my home. Frank and I grew up in Quincy, raised our children, Laurie and Michael here. They met their spouses, Dave and Sandy here, and gave us 4 beautiful grandsons, Joe, Andrew, Jesse, and Cole. I couldn't be happier. In 2018, Frank and I joined the QAA, Quincy Art Association, and thanks to the late, great Kelly Cobble, we were hooked, or rather, she hooked us. If you know Kelly, you know what I mean. She was curator of the Adams National Park Historic Park, president of the Quincy Art Association, and held many other titles simultaneously. She was one of a kind. She is missed every day. This is for you, Kelly. This award is for you. I share it with you. I know how much you loved Abigail and the arts and all the causes you were passionate about. I also share it with others that held the Quincy Art Association together for so long and continue to do so. Ellen, our fearless leader, Frank, Mary Ellen, Ginny, Tony and Phyllis,
Dan and Jess, Chris and Linda, Britt, Kristen, Rose and Eric, plus all our wonderful artists, teachers, and volunteers that keep the center and the gallery alive and vibrant every single day. I just have one quote from the Adamses I want to share with you in response to one of Abigail's many eloquent letters to John, saying how we can't forget the arts. He writes back to her, "It is not indeed the fine arts which our country requires. It is my duty to study more than all the other sciences, the art of legislation, administration, negotiation, to take place, indeed to exclude, in a manner, all other arts." But then he went on to say, "I must study politics and war, so my sons have the liberty to study mathematics, philosophy, geography, natural history, in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, and music." There it is. Thank you, John. Thank you, Abigail, for bringing women's rights to the forefront, and for John, who treated her as his equal, taking note to remember the ladies and that husbands should be kind to their wives. Abigail and John knew back then the arts and culture were as vital to our well-being and survival as the air we breathe, as is kindness. I will treasure this forever. Thank you very much.
I think we can all agree how important the arts are in our community, but I had no idea, Linda, how much time you spent doing those costumes. That's incredible. Looking forward to the celebration next year and to see all you do at some of those Quincy events. Our next honoree today is Karen Smith in the field of business. Karen's the owner of Karen's Corner. She was born and raised here in Quincy. She attended Quincy Public Schools, and she opened Karen's Corner boutique in November of 1987. Karen's passion is in helping others, whether small businesses, nonprofits, or those in need, and she's absolutely an inspiration to the many women in our communities who are starting their own businesses, whether it be small or as big and as successful as Karen's. I would like to invite her friend and fellow business owner now, Jennifer Ormond, to tell us more about Karen and all that she's done for the Quincy community. Jennifer.
This isn't too intimidating at all. I'm so glad that I don't do a lot of public speaking, so I'm just going to dive right in. Thank you so much for the honor of introducing my friend Karen Smith. It's not very often that you get to focus on one human and gush about them. I've been thinking about how to portray an accurate picture of my friend Karen for a few weeks now, and it's almost impossible, so bear with me as I dive right in. I met Karen many, many years ago at my first Mayor's Commission on Women's meeting. I didn't know a single person. I had not served on any committees since high school and college, and I was very excited and nervous. Everyone introduced themselves to me and continued on with the meeting. We were trying to decide what events we would do for the year and how we could best serve our community. I noticed right away Karen was very knowledgeable and just about everything that was suggested. She knew what licenses we would need depending on the fundraiser we were discussing. She knew what would work and what wouldn't work. And what really intrigued me about Karen was her in-depth knowledge about Robert's rules. I felt like a dope. I sat there and had no idea what anyone was talking about. I had to go home that night and look them up. They are a formal parliamentary way of running a meeting, taking votes, and keeping things moving. Very efficient. Karen is an expert on Robert's rules. I knew that night. I'm so sorry. I messed myself up. You're going to have to give me a minute here. I messed up here. And this is why I went last, right? Oh my goodness. I knew that night that she was a rule follower, super geek, just like myself, and that we would one day become friends, and that we did. I also learned pretty quickly the reason she knows so much about Robert Rules in fundraising was because she has served on just about every nonprofit board that existed in Quincy and the surrounding towns. I don't think there's an organization that exists that Karen hasn't volunteered her time to or her business hasn't donated to. At first, I found Karen hard to get to know. She is so nice all the time. Even when she's angry, you would never know because she's so nice all the time. Karen doesn't swear. She does not speak poorly of people. She would quite literally give you the shirt off her back right now. If you asked her, she would figure out a way to give you her shirt. Karen's a giver. She gives her time, she gives her friendship, her trust, her advice, and kindness freely to anyone and everyone. I quickly learned that Karen is a real-life superhuman. I mean this, superhuman. After getting to know her, I couldn't wait to check out Karen's Corner. I never expected to shop at a women's boutique. It's not me. I'm a jeans, sneakers, and sweatshirt kind of gal. But I had a few dressy places to go, so I wanted to support my friend, so I went to Karen's Corner. As many women are, I tend to be a little self-conscious when buying clothes. Karen sent me into that dressing room with colors and articles of clothing I would ordinarily never wear. She encouraged me to give them a try, and I was shocked that her suggestions actually complimented my figure and my coloring and everything else in between. I walked in there with my head low and feeling a little embarrassed and walked out feeling like a celebrity. I think that's part of her success. She has an eye for fashion and for people. She sees in others what they can't see in themselves. She focuses on purchasing items made in the United States and tries to buy as local as she can. She supports local in all that she does. Fun fact about Karen, she does not and will not order from Amazon. She thinks about how she can keep local money local. Go ahead, you can clap for that. I heard that. Did you know Karen just celebrated her 36th year in business this past November? Yeah. Woohoo! Our city is the luckiest city in the United States of America to have Karen's Corner in it. As our friendship grew over the years, I have had the privilege of serving on some of the same nonprofit boards as Karen, and she just blows my mind. She not only shows up and works her butt off, she always takes on an important role and excels at it. Karen is always trying to learn, grow, and expand. Whether it's her business or herself personally, she's the first person to sign up to a day seminar or a 9-month MBA program. She's so open-minded, driven, and loves to dive right in. She does the most amazing Easter egg hunt every year with hundreds of stuffed eggs and neighborhood kids, and she's an amazing cook as well. She works hundreds of trade shows, pop-ups, farmers markets, holiday expos, while keeping her store open and fully staffed and still taking care of everything and everyone in between. On a typical day, Karen could text me at 1 a.m., 4 a.m., 10 a.m. I'm not sure when she sleeps, honestly. She's always cooking for somebody and delivering food to a friend or a family member in need. Then she will go read to Quincy Public School students through Rotary, run a quick fashion show for the senior center, work a full day at her shop, take a class, go out for dinner with friends, go see a musical to support her friends' kids, call me after the show with a QuickBooks question or telling me about a new idea that she has that she can help somebody else in need. As I mentioned, Karen is a superhuman. But with the human part, sometimes life is not always rainbows and unicorns. The pandemic was rough for all of us small business owners. Karen learned how to pivot her business, and she supplied sanitizer and soap and other products made from other small businesses, while the big box stores' shelves were empty. She filled a huge void for so many of us. Karen also had a tremendous loss about 1.5 years ago. Her amazing partner, husband, best friend of 25 years passed away. Honestly, I didn't know Karen without Donald. He was her other half, and they fit together perfectly. They were one of those couples you just knew they were supposed to be together. It has been one of the most difficult periods of time she has had. And you know what she has done? She's doubled down. She gives more to those in need. She gives more, she loves more, she helps more people than we could ever imagine. I know Donald is sitting with you right now, sipping on his chai and giving you a giant hug. Karen never, ever stops. She's a force, a superhuman, and I'm the luckiest person on the planet to call her my friend. Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you. I don't know to describe Jen and I if it's more the odd couple or Thelma and Louise. But it's true. She's the night owl and I'm the early bird. So those 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. texts go a long way. I love you and thank you for those kind words. I'd like to thank Mayor Koch, First Lady Christine, Jordan, our Mistress of Ceremonies, John McDonald, our events coordinator for today, for honoring the legacy of Abigail Adams and local women. Congratulations to Linda, Courtney, Doris, and Barbara. Quincy is so fortunate to have such caring and compassionate women. This is the first recognition I have received without my parents or Donald attending. My mom passed away 11 years ago and was always my biggest supporter. My dad currently is in hospice, and as Jen said, Donald passed away 1.5 years ago. Sorry. I want to thank my brothers, Mark and Wayne, and my sister-in-law, Janet, my cousin, and all of my very supportive friends. I am so blessed. Abigail Adams was an early rights advocate. On March 1st, just 8 days ago, a portrait of Abigail Adams was unveiled in the Senate reading room. She is only the second woman to have a portrait displayed in the Senate. To quote Senate President, exactly. To quote Senate President Karen Spilka during the ceremony they had the beginning of the month, I look forward to knowing that thousands of women are going to walk down the hall full of men, walk into our lobby to be greeted by a woman, Abigail Adams. That's very exciting to me. Where she belongs, in a hall of power, where we do remember the ladies, and where we are all proud to be led by them. Thank you very much for this honor.
Karen, thank you so much for all you've done to inspire many women to start their own businesses, and I look forward to going to your boutique. I haven't been yet, but now it's on the top of my agenda. Thank you so much. A round of applause for all of our honorees today. Incredible women, oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for being here this afternoon and for celebrating the incredible achievements of these women as we honor Women's History Month. And really, I think that we're all leaving here today inspired by all of the incredible things that you've all done and the amazing things that your presenters told us about you. So thank you guys so much. And now it's time for us to just go enjoy some tea. I think as Abigail Adams would want us to wrap up today's event. So please join us in celebrating these women. If you haven't met some of them, say hi, come say hi to myself. And I want to let you know that we will be recognizing all of these women on Monday on WBZ in our morning show. So if you're up, I know Karen will be. Early riser over there. Thank you. Thank you so much, John. And a round of applause for John, who put together this event today. Incredible. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the cafeteria.